Hello my little unicorns. So this is going to be my first time doing a video. No theme music. I have to be careful about copyright infringement and things like that. You can't see it, but I'm wearing my unicorn headband. I've got you zoomed in so that you can see me. I hope the lighting is good and hopefully there'll be no tiling because I'm doing this on video. So I was thinking that I've kind of strayed away from my early roots about doing beauty on a budget and talking to you about prices and what's affordable. And I went back to May when I first started doing these videos, and I had done my traditional pinup look for you. So I'm going to go back to that today, and I'm going to tell you every product that I'm using and exactly what I'm doing. This is a relatively simple look, so if you're looking for a kind of natural looking sort of pin-up-y kind of easy look to do, this is a great place to start. If you're not big on makeup and you want a very simple look or something that's soft and kind of natural with a little flair, this is the look for you. So I've already done my foundation. I had to work today and I didn't want to be completely without makeup, so I'm filming this after work. Even though I'm posting it on a Saturday, I'm filming it actually on Wednesday. So I have my foundation, I have my contour, I have my highlight, but it's worn off, so I'll probably add a little more highlight today, during this video, because let's face it, I love to shine bright. I'm a crow. I have my eyebrows done. So let's talk a little bit about eyebrows. If you go back to the 30s and 40s, the eyebrows were very high arched, very rounded, and relatively thin. They started getting a little thicker in the mid to late 40s, and then they started getting the heavy arch in the 50s and 60s. So I've got kind of a 50s eyebrow going on right now. I'll kind of show you. And one of these days, I'll show you how I do my eyebrows. There are people who do them much better than me. I do them very simply, but they're great for people with sparse brows. If you're looking for something quick and easy for every day and you have very sparse brows, I'll be doing one of those in the future. But for now, I have my arch going and I have a relatively high arch. So for today, we are going to be using the Profusions Naturals palette. And I'm going to pretty much do everything out of this palette, including my eyeliner, I think. So the first thing I'm going to do is figure out where my brushes are. I'm going to get my concealer brush and I'm going to prime my eyes. So here's my concealer brush. And for priming, I am using my Pharmacy Makeup Primer. It says Pro to Fit Eyeshadow Primer. And here it's Pharmacy. And I will try to keep the mirror out of the camera. Now I still don't have photo editing, so you're still seeing this in real time. It's not going to be fast forwarded as much as I would like to, but video editing is coming. This is my first video. It's coming. It's all coming. Alright, so we're going to take my mirror and I'm just going to carve out here and prime my eyelids. And I'm starting up my brow area and I'm just going to fill in. And I actually got a little too much product on the brush, but that's okay because I can tap it out with my finger. Now, because I had to work today, I already have mascara on my eyes. I normally would not put mascara on before doing all of this. So I'm probably going to end up getting a little primer and stuff in my eyelashes. But I'm going to put on false eyelashes, so that's okay. I got that eye primed, and we're going to go in with a little more and prime the other eye. And usually I have this done before I see you guys on Saturdays. But again, I didn't want to prime and have it crease before I was ready to put on my shadows, so just going to lay the product down, and then I'm going to take my finger and blend it out. So it's nice and smooth. And I got a little tiny bit in my eyebrow, but that's okay because I'll just go in with my eyebrow brush. And I'm not even going to take any extra product. I still probably have some product on the brush from this morning. So I'm just going to fill in that little area that I hit. Yeah, it's perfect. Fill in that little area that I hit with the primer. Alright, so the next thing I'm going to do so that I don't get creasing and I don't get patchiness, I'm going to set that primer. And for that, I'm going to go into my Profusion Naturals palette. And I'm going to use the color Polite, which is a very similar color to my skin tone. It's this one right here. A little lighter, but very close to my skin tone. I'm just going to go into that. I could go into Silky, which is even closer to my skin tone, but I want the colors that I'm going to be using to be very prominent, so I'm going to go a little lighter. And I'm just going to take that all over my lid and set that primer. Now, the thing about this pinup look is that I try to go very, very much like the 40s and the 40s specifically. They get into more colors in the 50s, but I try to keep it very nude and neutral. And in the 40s, it was all about contouring and natural beauty. So the wings were small, if there were any at all. The contouring and shadows were very natural toned. So again, this is my go-to kind of pinup look, and I'm going to keep it very neutral. So the next color I'm going into is Zing, which is very light brown here. Let's see if you can see that right there. And I'm going to take that in my crease, tapping it out. Now, I have slightly hooded eyes, so I'm going to go a little bit above. And I'm going to take it out and wing it just a little bit. And right now, all I'm doing is placing color. So I'm just packing it in. Okay, so you see that it's very light. It's a very light tone, but it's kind of patchy. It's not as smooth as I would like it to be. At this point, I'm going to take any excess product off my brush. I have a rag on my lap. I'm just wiping it off. And I'm just going to buff. And I'm going to keep buffing that until it's no longer patchy or rough. This is one of the simplest looks you can do. The hardest part about this look is the wing. And I'm going to show you a trick for that. You've seen me do it a million times. And when you think that you've got it blended out enough, blend a few more minutes. Taking any excess product off the brush again. And again, I'm going to continue to buff that out. I literally want it melting into my skin. I want it to look like I have no shadow on whatsoever. And I'm just winging it out ever so slightly. Again, by the time I'm done blending, you'll hardly know it's there. I'm going to try and get a little closer and see if you can even see a difference. So this is the eye that has nothing on it. This is the one that has a little color. Okay, I'm going to go back in with Zing again and do the other side. First, I'm going to just pack the color on, and then I'm going to blend it out. Okay. Wing it out slightly and take it up just slightly above my crease. Now, if you have very large eyes, they're not hooded, They have a very deep crease or a lot of lid space here to here, what I call movable lid space, which is where your mobile lid is from here to here. You don't have to do this step, but if you have hooded eyes, I go slightly above my crease. I want to create the illusion of a larger mobile lid space. Okay, so once I have the color placed down, I'm going to remove any excess product off of my brush. Just blend until it melts into my skin, until it's almost not even there anymore. Okay. Now I want just a little tiny bit of something in my lash. I want just a little tiny bit more definition to my lower lashes. So I'm going to take a very fine pencil brush, very fine. And I'm going into the color Cozy, which is just slightly darker. Cozy, slightly darker right here. I'm going to take this very tight in my lower lashes. Very tight. Now again, this is much easier if you haven't already added your mascara on, but I worked today, so my mascara is on. So I'm fighting my mascara right now. Okay, so I have just a little bit on my lower lash line for definition, but that's still a little bit more intense than I want. So I'm going back in with the same fluffy brush that I put on the color Zing. I'm going to blend that out with Zing again. So I'm just going to dip lightly into it, really tap it out, and just blend. I don't want a very heavy under eye. I want just slight definition. So I'm not adding a lot of pigment on this. All right, so here's where the fun part comes in. This is where I would normally stop with the eyeshadows if you're trying to get something that's really authentically 40s. Sippy stuff. Hang on one second. But let's face it, we live in the millennium and we want a little bit more glam. So I'm going to go in with my Pharmacy highlighting palette. You know this is one of my favorites. And I'm going to go in with I have a sculptured flat brush, a very small flat brush. Small flat brush. And I'm going in with this middle gold shade right here in the center. And I'm just going to highlight right under the brow bone a little bit. And in the inner corner. Just to get a little illumination. Okay. Next comes the part that we all love. I'm going to break out my Scotch tape. And we are going to do my eyeliner. And for this I am doing a slight wing. I'm not going to go huge because I'm doing more of a 40s kind of look. And they really didn't do the wing in the 40s. But let's face it, it's not pin up or rockabilly if you don't do the wing, right? So we're going to do the wing. So I've got my Scotch tape here, and I'm going to make myself look ridiculous for you guys, because if any of you know, I don't have a steady hand, not good with the wing liner. Now, if you are good with it, you can do this with gel, you can do this with liquid, you can do this with pencil, you can do this with felt tip. I'm going to do it with powder. So under my lower lashes and up along, and because I have hooded eyes, and it's not ideal for wing liner, I'm going to take it more out than up. So a lot of times, wing liner is going to go up towards your eyebrow. I'm going to take it out more parallel with my eyebrow. So instead of doing this up this way, I'm doing it this way. And I kind of want to make sure that they're relatively even. They don't have to be exact. Eyes and eyebrows, sisters, not twins, right? Okay, so for my liner, I was going to use my Unique palette, but I want to keep this in the Profusion Naturals palette because this is a relatively affordable palette. This palette is only $10. You get 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 15, wait, 8, and 8 is 16, 24 shades for $10, which is not bad. So Nightlife is the black in the palette. It's this one right here. You can see I've already dipped into it with my fixing spray. That's why it has a different shades, but don't worry, you can still use it. It still works. Well, trust me, it does. But what I'm going to do is wet my brush because I want to get this liner to stay. Now, if you don't have a steady hand and you have a tendency to rub your eyes, or you really want long-lasting liner, you're worried it won't last all day, you can use the powder to shape out the wing liner and then go over it with a liquid or gel liner, and it will stay forever. I don't tend to touch my eyes much during the day, so I can get away with just the powder. So I'm going to spray my brush about 3 times. Make sure it's damp. Shake off any excess liquid and dip it right into the Nightlife. And I'm kind of making a black paste. And then I'm just going to go right over the tape. And I'm not worried if I make a mess because that's what the tape is for. So I'm kind of laying out where I want my line to be and then connecting the dots. And I've already made this a little thicker than I want, but I am going to be putting on false lashes. So I want a thicker lash line, a thicker wing, not long necessarily, but well, I already made it longer, but whatever. You can get away with that when you're doing modern rockabilly because it's not authentically 40s. But I want a thicker line because I want my lash band to be hidden. So I decided to go for a big wing. Now, it came out a little bit more crooked than I want. Don't worry about it. I'm going to show you how to clean that up. And we're just going to dip in. I'm going to spray it down one more time. Maybe give it 1 or 2 spritzes. And go back into the shade and do the other side. I realize I'm probably blocking your view. I'm blind as a bat, and this is really difficult for me to do, which is why it's a little bigger than I wanted it to be. But I don't want to block what you can see. Fill in any empty spaces. And I'm really just worried about the top more than the bottom because I can clean up the bottom with concealer. Okay, so I have them pretty much where I want them, but this one's longer than this one. So this one's perfect. Yeah, that one's perfect. This one, not so much. So I'm going to take the tape, I'm going to put it back. Just to fill in some gaps. Make it a little straighter, and then I can clean up the edges with some concealer. So let's do that now. So I have my little concealer brush. And really it's not too bad, it's just a little too long. So I'm going to put a tiny bit of concealer on the edge of my brush. And we're going to clean that up. Wipe away any of the excess black and just conceal it. Voila. And again, sisters, not twins. They don't have to be exact, but they're much closer now. Yeah, much closer now. Now, I already have mascara on, but the next step would be mascara. And if you are fortunate enough to have luscious lashes, you could stop right there. I do not have luscious lashes. So I'm going to go in with my Kiss Lash Liner Glue, or Lash Glue Liner by Kiss, so that I can add some lashes. Okay, and because I don't want my wings to be sticky, I'm not going to take it out as far as my wings. But I'm just going right along my lash line as close as I can get it. And just making sure I have glue all the way to the edges. And I'm going to use my Ardell Demi Wispies because they're relatively natural. I want just some volume and a little length, but I don't want this look to be too over the top. Now, you can go as dramatic as you want, but I'm going to keep it relatively soft and easy. I'm just going to touch it down in the corner where I want it to be. Make sure it is where I want it to be, because I have a tendency to make it too far in the corner. Or not close enough to the lash line. And then bring it right on over. And once I feel like I've gotten them in place, I'll just tap them down. I glued an eyelash down to my lid. There. There we go. Now you're seeing it. Okay? And we're just going to take the glue liner, if I can find where I put it, and do the same thing on the other side, but I can't find where I put it. Now's the time I wish I could edit videos, because I don't know what I did with my glue liner. It's okay, I got a backup plan. I had a backup plan. I don't anymore.